listening to A Band of Gamers, podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com. Hey, welcome to the show, A Band of Gamers. What's going on? Welcome back. How are you?
And it's time for the annual E3. What do they call this? What are the kids on daily, not daily mode, YouTube? It's their E3 wrap up with your friends at ABOG or something.
Listen to that energy. Love it. Love it.
Right?
That's good. I brought so much energy. I think there's probably an echo off the wall into the microphone there. Sorry about that in advance.
Right? A little reverb action.
I've opened a door so the echo would like escape the room. Because I'm all fired up over here. It's going to be a good episode. Lots to talk about. We watched a lot of the E3 stuff, as I'm sure you did. And if you didn't, well, hey, your boys here in ABOG will bring you up to speed as best we can. But we're going to treat it more like a bar chat, not a list. We're not going to go through everything that happened. Just kind of our general observations, which presentations impressed us, the games that got us excited. Of course, while we're doing that, we're going to drink some beer. And later on, we'll share what's in our pint glass. Carl, are you ready? Are you going to talk about Ratchet and Clank? I know you didn't have a lot of free time. Or are we going to save that for the next episode? Sorry, I didn't look at the agenda. Winging it.
We can. I mean, I've played a bit, but not enough, really. We'll see how we go for time. We'll throw a bit in at the end, but if not, we'll save it for next epi.
All right, good. And I'm skipping ahead here. I'm Joel, your MC, recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, USA. Joining me on this journey, these two guys, my best mates, first of all, from Birmingham, England. Going full 1,000. It's Carl. Hey, Carl.
Oh, yes. Full 1,000. Just ready and raring to go. Can't wait. I just look forward to my Sunday evening so much, mate. I really do. Stoked to talk about some E3 stuff. It's looking exciting.
It sure is. From Vancouver, Canada, the gentleman you just heard cracking his beer over there and hopefully not spilling it, in full playoff mode. It's Shane. Is that referring to the NHL? Shane, or is
referring to the NHL? Yes.
There you go. Not the Bucks. Not the wonderful Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks.
But a huge series win by the Bucks, though. That was huge. I did not expect that.
Mental.
You know, they were down what 2-0 in the series. Came back to tie the series, which is pretty impressive. Mind you, there's some hurt players. To be fair, but they took advantage, the opportunity. They crossed their T's and dotted their lowercase J's. But yeah, no, man, hockey, man, the NHL playoffs, man, it's great, man. We got the, Le Montreal Canadiens, they're doing great, great series against the Vegas Golden Knights. And then on the other side, the Islanders, what a team, man. Definitely rooting for them against, it's kind of people like to say it's a David versus Goliath because they're up against the mighty Tampa Bay Lightning, which is just chock full of superstars. But they're holding their own, and the Isles got a great team, and hopefully they can pull the series off. I'm rooting for them, and it'd be great.
I didn't know there was anything mighty in Tampa Bay. That's news to me, that the NHL franchise in Tampa Bay is a mighty franchise.
It is. Well, they won the cup last year.
Well, there you go. See, I feel like a dick here because, full disclosure, these guys are great, very supportive. They know all about my Milwaukee Bucks. They live in Canada and England. They don't watch NBA. They have no fucking clue. But, they'll shoot me a message like, hey, Milwaukee Bucks, look at that. They won. Hey, Joel, Giannis, what a game, and I don't even know who Shane's team is in the NHL. And sorry, Carl, I don't know if your team won. I need to be a better friend here.
Well, Susan,
I suck.
Yeah, you do. You need to sort that out.
I really do. I think that every time you send me a nice message like, yeah, I watched the highlights. That's great. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Didn't your team just play? Shit.
Right. I just love how the announcers in NBA, when the Bucks are playing, everybody's just like, they meant Middleton and all these guys need last names until it comes to Antetokounmpo, and then it's just and Giannis. Nobody wants to put it out there, Antetokounmpo, but hey, it is what it is.
Our home team announcer nickname the Alphabet.
Mm-hmm. No, that's genius.
Wonderful nickname. He can pronounce it. I mean, it's our hometown guy, but yeah, the Alphabet. Well, thank you for joining us. You can listen to our past episodes everywhere podcast episodes are available. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow. So you can go back and through our backlog, check out the other E3s from years past, because it's real relevant now.
Right? Fire up some of those retro eppies. Let's go.
I'm not selling it very well. I'm anxious to talk about this one, though. What'd you guys think? E3 was different. It's the Pandini, as Shane calls it. So it was all virtual. And it seemed to span longer than the usual, like 4 days. Started on a Thursday, ended like the following Tuesday or something? Or there's still, I don't know. So it was a long one. What'd you guys think of this year's E3? How it was laid out?
Well, for me, it just seemed to take the pressure off getting involved with it. Like I'm watching, because you kind of knew the times, and although you do have a schedule for E3, that it just seems so full of stuff from different publishers and developers and stuff. It's a lot to kind of keep track of. This year, I found it a lot easier. It's just like, oh, this is Microsoft and so and so, Bethesda, and Nintendo were doing the thing, and it's like, oh, okay, brilliant. And it felt like there was less pressure. It was like just easier to follow. I don't know, for me personally. And it gives you the ability to hop in, hop out a little more. Just having it all there, ready on demand. It was good for me.
Yeah, it seems like with Sony not being there again for the last year was kind of canceled, but kind of like 3 years since they've been there. It's like Carl said, the pressure's off, and it's just they're out there just showing what's coming, showing what's new, what they're bringing to the table, and it's great. It was actually a lot more enjoyable. I found this year, especially with it just being digital. And it's like I can catch up with it later. I don't need to watch it, live or while it's going down. So,
do you know what I appreciated as well? The fact that when it's live and they're kind of playing to the crowd, and you've got these reveals and just like little gasp moments, and someone walking on stage, little presentation, that kind of stuff. I felt like it was more of a slick, kind of rehearsed presentation. Definitely hit the spot a lot better for me, I think, rather than just waiting like, oh, here's like a just a name on a trailer just to get the audience going. I felt it was pretty cool.
Or like some cheap pops, or bringing a special guest out or whatnot, just to overhype whatever and whatnot. It was nice actually not to have any of that. It's a lot more enjoyable.
I missed a little bit of the pageantry, though. I do like the crowd going. I do, yeah. And I miss Sony being there. Them not being there really changes the dynamic of the show. And I understand why they're not there. They don't need to be there. But it would have been more exciting if they were there, because I think a lot of the presentations sort of fell flat. Like Microsoft and Nintendo had big pressers. We'll talk about those a little bit here. But some of the studios or the developers or the publishers, like Ubisoft and Square, and those, I don't think they've yet figured out how to do an E3 virtually. So there wasn't a lot of great stuff in some of those side presentations. Would you guys agree? Nintendo and Microsoft seem to understand how to handle this.
Yeah.
The other companies didn't seem like they had much to say, but still felt like they needed to say something, and it felt weird.
Especially Nintendo, with them doing their Nintendo Directs, a few times a year and whatnot. This is nothing new to them. It was, they handled it great, and Xbox did a fantastic job as well. Despite not having the audience and whatnot, because they seem to really feed off of that the best.
Yeah, but they still had like a stage that kind of treated it like a regular thing. Then they had that video after the fact. I forget what they called it. The kind of the deeper dive where they went like an hour and a half on a bunch of games. And Paris Lilly from Gamertag Radio, Kind of Funny Xcast, hosted that thing. They actually rented out the current Penny Arcade where they host that thing. And used that stage and actually had people come out on stage. And it seemed like a real E3, even though it was virtual. Whereas some of the other companies just seemed to throw trailer after trailer and just felt kind of weird. Didn't feel like a regular E3, except for kind of Nintendo and Xbox, I thought, Bethesda.
Yeah. I actually sat and watched that Microsoft one, the post one, where they kind of had all the guests on for the different games and just talk through some of them a bit more. And I found that quite, I don't know, more like you're watching a TV show, really, and quite enjoyable. I definitely prefer that than the stuff on stage. When it's just panning to somebody and it's like, oh, this dude's playing the game like he's live here, and then you get the guests on. I get what you mean about a bit of like showiness, it's got its place. But in terms of people kind of doing something, because I guess they thought that they had to have a little something. I think you're not far away with that in a couple of cases, especially when they haven't got anything to add really, other than maybe a little bit of DLC or something like that. So yeah, I get that, particularly with Ubisoft.
I did feel like the presentations though treated us gamers with like we are intelligent. In the past they try to pull the wool over your eyes. They show you some total trailer and you think of like MotorStorm or Killzone from way, way, way back, where you're seeing this footage and you're like, holy crap, that looks incredible. Then you find out later it's like just CG, not in-engine. It's total bullshit, Now, like, it seems like a lot of these trailers, it'll tell you, like, in the bottom, like, little watermark, like, in-game footage, not actual gameplay, or still in development, this is a trailer. They're not doing what they used to do, trying to pull the wool over your eyes. I really appreciated that aspect to this E3.
Yeah, I think the one that made me laugh, and I don't know if you guys watched or saw too much about it, but the Outer Worlds 2, when they it was like a little bit of a Mickey take about it. The developers haven't had time to do anything with this game. I was thinking, it's great, like it's tongue in cheek. The first one was a smash, like the second one's going to come out. That's going to be a humdinger. Looking forward to that. And, but it's just the way that they did that. And I thought that was a nice little nod to kind of just, here we go. There's nothing about it, but, we're being honest about it.
Totally agree. We're going to show you a logo, but we're going to make fun of ourselves for a minute and then show you the logo. I thought that was good too.
Yeah.
What do you think, Shane? Was it pretty clear that what you were seeing and if it was actual in-game footage or gameplay?
Well, the thing is, games have come to a point where you can't really tell the difference. What's a cinematic and what is gameplay now, right? So a little bit different than what it used to be. Because you'd see it and be like, oh yeah, that's not gameplay. That's not how it's. You knew that's not how it's. Nowadays, it's like, whoa, like if it looks like that, like holy crap, it's come a long way.
I think like Starfield, for example, I don't think they showed much actual what it's going to look like when you play it, but it was like in engine, and they made that very clear.
Yeah, I think Starfield, I don't think anyone was really expecting to see anything other than perhaps just a little bit around the backstory and, just some engine footage, like you say, mate. And I don't think, especially the cutscene cinematics and all the rest of it, and it won't look too far off that, I wouldn't imagine. But the one that really grabbed me was Forza Horizon, the new Forza Horizon 5, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about cutting to, from gameplay to cinematics and stuff, that was really seamless. And I know they do that a lot in the games, where you you have a panoramic shot of the scenery and then you come in and the car zooms past and it's like, oh, wow, this is, and you're in there, you never leave that kind of moment. It's just gone up another level. I thought some of the graphics that they showed, when they went up like on the volcano and stuff, and on the riverbed, it was, the flowing of the water and stuff. It just looked like it looked real, and they've obviously set the camera equipment up and they've, took complete kind of panoramic shots and stuff, and just it looks so lush. And then obviously you see the car swing into view, and you're straight there beyond the action, and that looked damn pretty.
Yeah, and they gave a date for that too, coming out exclusively on Xbox, November, I believe. That Forza Horizon 5. That one shocked me because it's the Pandini. I'll go with what Shane calls it. How did they pull that together? Like they have these photorealistic, like depictions or views of Mexico. Did you go there? You can't travel right now. Like, how did you do that? Are they just using they find some camera footage or something? It's just really fascinating how they pulled that together, being kind of a rumor, but a secret up to this point. And it's a thing. It's in Mexico, and look, we've got the detail of all these places in Mexico, down to the little hairs, thistles on the cactuses and everything they were talking about. Just amazing looking graphics for that game.
Yeah, man. It's been a while now since Forza Horizon 4 came out as well, hasn't it? It's been
a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. So they've had some time. They've had some time to get into that. And you'd imagine that that's the kind of stuff that you do first, when you're mapping the terrain and getting all that ready to put into the engine. But I don't know which direction Forza's going in terms of Forza Horizon. I don't really think it matters. The game's fun. It's always been fun. It seemed that they got this new little campaign mode in there, a little bit more meat around the bones, rather than just, drive to this destination, here, the festival's now here sort of thing. It seemed like you're kind of exploring a little bit more, and maybe putting, giving that a little bit more structure to it, because I do miss that. I think when I do, I love playing Horizon with mates. It's a great game, but that campaign mode, it could do with being a little bit more structured for me. Just like you got those big events and stuff like that. So yeah, if they can build a little bit more in that single player, I'll be well into that. That's
a good shout. Usually I jump into that game. I never finished it, but it's just this large, huge open world game, and you jump in and it's like, what was I doing last time? Where was I? But to have a little bit more linear structure kind of within that might be helpful. Speaking of, we talked about Xbox and Bethesda here a little bit. What presentations impressed you guys?
For me, believe it or not, it's probably going to sound silly, but limited runs.
Oh, I missed that one.
I'm a big collecting guy of physical games, as you know, because you've been listening for so long. So thank you. But yeah, no, they got like 30 games they announced, and some really stuff that I never expected. Like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It's coming to PS4. It's coming to Switch as well, and it's a fantastic, 16-bit game. It was on the Super Nintendo, it was on the Mega Drive or the Genesis. And they got that coming out, and they've actually packaged it with Ghoul Patrol, and that's got a pre-order going right now. It's the pre-order's live up until the middle of July, I believe the 18th. So if you're a fan of it, you get the PS4, or even better, you got the Switch. That'd be a perfect game to play on the Switch. Excellent game. Definitely look into that. That's they're doing Retromania, which is the spiritual successor to WrestleFest, the old wrestling arcade game that was fantastic. They're doing a physical of that, and that's super cool. I haven't picked up the digital of that yet. It's been out for probably a couple months now, but that's really cool as well. They had some neat stuff. They got some cool stuff in the pipeline over the next year, and they just keep growing and licensing so many great games that they're putting physical copies out. So, and they took a shot at Sony too, which is great. At the end of their conference, mentioning the potential digital stores closing, and saying that don't worry, your games will still be around and whatnot. So nice. There's a tongue in cheek, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, limited run, man. I love grabbing those games, man. They do some cool stuff, and it's nice to have a copy that you can hold in your hand.
See, I totally missed that. So not having E3 kind of centralized in a spot made me miss that. I had no idea that was going on. Thanks for telling me, Shane.
See, this is why you listen to ABOG. But yeah, really cool. They always kind of, they're small companies, so they kind of fly under the radar with some of this stuff, and it doesn't get the big press, or it doesn't end up trending like some of the the big boys. But yeah, they had a cool little showing.
Nice. How about you, Carl?
And
sorry,
before I forget, they showed a game called Skatebird, which is a skateboarding game, and you're a little birdie riding a skateboard, and it looked amazing. I totally want to play this. It's coming out in August.
Like a new IP from Limited Run?
I don't think it's from them necessarily. It didn't really say, or I didn't
publishing an indie game versus a retro game.
Yeah, definitely an indie game, and it's it looked cool, man. Skateboarding a little birdie, so why not? It'd be hilarious.
Nice.
And for me, it's probably got to be. I was torn between Xbox and Nintendo. I think the parts that I liked from both. I definitely think they both seem to have mastered this, kind of longer segments intertwined with little bits, little snippets of certain games, but then given a good chunk of time to the ones which are not far away, releasing this year and all the rest of it. I'll probably go with Microsoft. I think it was one of the ones that I enjoyed the most from them. Particularly, it just seemed to get straight into the point, straight in there with Forza. Good chunk of it, a lot of kind of in-depth gameplay talk, and they had a couple of games which took me by surprise, which I didn't expect to see, like the Shredders, that snowboarding game. That looked pretty cool. Gave me like 1080 snowboarding vibes from back on the N64, I think it was. And Soul Axiom as well. That looked pretty good. There was a huge chunk of the towards the end of the presentation, just before Halo Infinite, the multiplayer and that. But I was quite interested in that as well. Like it just seemed that, especially given that then they're not particularly popular in Japan, like having a bit of a kind of a JRPG game, and a huge chunk of that presentation at the end of it just did it for me. Really, I thought it was well balanced. Like flight simulator was in there. It just a lot of things. It just seemed very balanced. Very with a smattering of those little indie games as well, which you just grow to love. Out on Game Pass, out on Game Pass, out on Game Pass. Yeah, they just nailed it, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. They've put billions of dollars and a couple years worth of effort into this E3 presentation this year, bringing out the big guns, all these new IPs. A lot with 27 of the 30 games they showed, if I recall that number being correct, they're coming to Game Pass, including some third-party games like Hades coming to Game Pass. And that was the other big one. Shoot, I'm forgetting. But there were a couple third parties that they showed, and they said they're coming to Game Pass. Damn, Back 4 Blood, the co-op game,
Nice.
will be in Game Pass. You won't have to purchase that. So I thought they showed really well the order in which they presented things, the time they took, what they showed, while still holding some back. They didn't show the new Fable. They're holding some back. They seem to be only focusing on this year, a lot of the games coming out this year, and then there was a few they showed for 2022. But nothing beyond that, which I kind of like. They still have more to show, more to be excited about, so that all those first-party studios, and I thought Xbox sort of redeemed themselves from the Xbox One reveal all those years back, where they just stuck their foot like way in their mouth and screwed everything up. And they've been working so hard to try and fix that for years. And I thought this E3 was sort of the culmination of that for them.
Yeah. Definitely seem like they're pacing themselves now. It's a bit of a marathon. What is it? It's not a sprint. Palmer, help me out here, buddy. We're live.
Yeah, marathon, not a sprint.
Marangoni, not a sprint. So right? Yeah, no. It did. It seemed like they're really, keeping their cards a little bit tighter than previous years, and they're in for the long haul, man. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and this is the kind of advertisement I want to see for Game Pass. I think when you are a PC owner, you won't. A lot of these indie games that they have in Game Pass, you own them anyway. Like it's one of these things you pick up, and cheap on sale. Then eventually they come on console. But I think what they did was they had a great smattering of games that were already out. Like Hades is a good example, Joel. We both own that already. Probably haven't played it as we should have. But it's still an expensive game. Like it's not been out too long. It's good £20 value or whatever over here. And having a game like that drop on Game Pass is great. It's a perfect kind of game, and it's still really current. It's not like it's a Slime Rancher or something, And then they had a couple of other newer ones, which are again going to be coming out on Game Pass. That Replaced, I thought, looked really, really good. Very much like reminded me of kind of Dead Cells with this kind of roguelike part to it, but it just graphically, it just reminded me of Blade Runner. The kind of with these robots, kind of a mind in different bodies, and it just looked really cool. I quite like the look of that one. And again, it's just something new, brand new. Here it comes, and it's coming soon. So
let's get into that next. The games. What games did you guys see? And we can kind of go round robin here, rather than just each one of us going 10 in a row or whatever, because I've got quite a list. What games excited you that you're anxious to try or play coming out of these presentations?
Axiom Verge 2. Sequel. Axiom Verge, fantastic game, man. Cool to see a sequel announced, and that's coming. That'll be good.
Want to go next, Carl?
I would like the look of Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I'm a sucker for these, any superhero games, but it looks pretty cool. I'm definitely going to be playing that when it comes out, and it just. Again, out of left field. I'd heard rumours about a game, but didn't really see anything now. And you get like a nice bit of gameplay and a little bit of an explanation about it. So, yeah, on my list for sure.
For me, the one that stood out quite a bit was Redfall, towards the end of the Xbox presser, where you're fighting off like vampires. That looked really cool. I think that wasn't that Xbox's One More Thing at the very, very end?
Yeah.
Surprise new IP from Bethesda. I thought that got me pretty excited. Brand new game. No clue it was coming. There's one for me. You want to keep going? You got more, Shane?
It kind of looked kind of half cartoony, half kind of realistic. It was kind of weird, but there, a lot of baddies to take down in that one, man. That could be fun, especially if they do 4-player co-op or something, man. I could see a lot of people having a good time with that.
Yeah, it seemed like it might be perfect for co-op. I was thinking the same thing, but not sure.
Hundy. Nintendo had a couple. They had the Monkey Ball remastered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Monkey Ball's a great game, man. That'd be so much fun on the Switch, man. See, I gotta get one of the Switches one of these days. And then they showed Cruisin' Blast, the old arcade racer for the Cruisin' series. That looked great as well, man. They're hitting it out of the park, man.
Yeah, Nintendo had a great showing. One of the games that really jumped out at me was God, can't even get my words out. Shin Megami Tensei 5. Ooh. So this is kind of, I love Persona 5. It's one of my favorites ever. And I've gone back and played Persona 4, just working through that at the minute. Shin Megami Tensei is kind of the prerequisite for Persona. Very, very similar kind of games, but just a little bit different. I've never actually played one of them. But they had a nice big chunk of that presser all about this, and it's exclusive on the Switch. And I think they just remastered. It might have been 4 on the PS4, I think, and maybe it'll be the Xbox as well. I think they remastered it for this last gen of consoles. But definitely on my list. We'll be picking that up. Physical pre-orders are out, I think, Monday the 21st. So probably a day after you've listened to this. But hit that button quick, pre-order one.
I saw a kind of a trailer, sort of, for the new Breath of the Wild sequel, which they didn't give the subtitle. They didn't give a date. They're still working on it. But I saw enough to get me pretty damn excited about Breath of the Wild, getting back into that world. And they had some new mechanics they were showing off, and some floating bits in the sky. It looked like they're really expanding on what made Breath of the Wild so great. That's all I need. More Breath of the Wild in a new spot with a new story with kind of the same sort of gameplay, and I'll be extremely happy with that.
That got people fired up, man.
Did it?
Folks going nuts over that.
Good tease. Man. Good tease.
One that's probably the game I'm most looking forward to playing. This is from Devolver, and hopefully I don't butcher this. Trek to Yomi. Looks like a platform kind of action, Kurosawa inspired style. The black and white. It just looks super, super cool. And then I think maybe a lot of people might have missed this one. I think this one's going to fly under the radar a little bit, but it looks really, really cool. Definitely check out there's a trailer out there. It's like a minute. Man, this game, I was like, wow, I need that game. I definitely want to try it.
I'll have to check that out.
I don't even remember that one, but there was so many games. It's hard to keep track of more.
Were there though, Carl? Were there so many games?
Oh, yeah, backlog grew watching that presentation.
Right. Right. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of these, these little hidden gems that are just, people are going to miss and whatnot. But yeah, there's so much cool stuff.
Well, for me, probably my most anticipated game of all of these, there is only one, and it's the Borderlands spin-off, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Oh, come on. Who doesn't want more Tiny Tina? And if you've played Borderlands 2, and more specifically the DLC for the Assault on Dragon's Keep, I think it was, it's basically like a Dungeons and Dragons inspired DLC pack, which is kind of, it's almost a game in itself, but it's so good. They're all the characters are there playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons, and voicing it over and it's all crazy. So I had so much fun playing that DLC. Played it through a couple of times, and it sounds like this is an offshoot, if you like, taking that a little bit further. So definitely it's going to play like a Borderlands game, it. But in terms of the lore and everything else, it's completely different. So it's probably, if you're having a guess, it's going to be in the mind of Tina or one of the others. It's got a pretty good voice cast as well. You've got Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, Will Arnett. It's out next year. January or something, 2022. So I'm stoked for this. It's I love my Borderlands, and it's all Tiny Tina all the time. So yeah, sign me up.
I don't think I ever played that DLC in Borderlands 2.
We need to get that sorted then, mate.
No, we did play that.
We did play it. We did play it. Claptrap's a little wizard, and like you've got loads of submissions and stuff as you go through. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. Tiny Tina, great character.
I thought Psychonauts 2 looked pretty damn impressive.
Ooh.
I didn't really play much of the first one. A little bit. I dabbled in it, but this new one looks like it's going to be great. And Tim Schafer's got such a great legacy of making fun, quirky games. And the fact that Microsoft gave him the time and the money to make this game what he wants it to be, it looks like it's shaping up to be a lot of fun. It's in Game Pass, so no risk for us Game Pass subscribers. Just give it a shot, and if you like it, it's there, and I think it's a couple months away. October or something? I forget. It's not far off. It looked great. Got me pretty stoked.
Nice.
You guys got any more? Because I've got a few.
I've pretty much hit.
See, like I said, I'm building my backlog here. I'm gonna more than I need. But Game Pass, this is what Game Pass does. There's all these games that I can play and try that I don't have to buy it. I can just dip my toe in, see if it's any good. Like Shredders, Carl mentioned it already. Shredders, that snowboarding game, looks to be more like a simulation style with lots of tricks, maybe a little bit out there as far as not overly sim. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So Shredders, put that on the list.
There was the guy, I forget the name of the game now, but it was it's the next one by the guys who made Inside and oh God, what was the other one?
Yeah, I like the other one, Limbo.
Yeah, Limbo. Yeah. The next game by then, and that's coming out straight on Game Pass as well. But I can't remember what the game was called now, but it looked like more Inside, which hey, is a good thing. So yeah, definitely that'll be on the list as well.
Especially if it's more like Limbo.
Just going through my notes here. That's, without building the backlog too far, those are the games that pretty much got me super stoked, excited. I like that for E3. You get to see, way back when, before we had the internet and before we had media was as active as they were, I'd go to, and this is very nerdy here, but when E3 would go on, I'd have to get the magazine, my EGM, like a month later to know what went down at E3. But GameStop would always sell like a 8 DVD pack of all the presentations and the trailers. What? And I totally would spend like $50 and buy the 8 DVD set.
Really?
Of E3. Yeah, because I would just get so excited. It was this is the day when you get the magazines, you open them up, you see all these pictures. No clue what these games are about. All you got is some imagery, and you're like, wow. I got a Genesis. That looks like it's gonna be awesome.
Wow. I hope you still got that hold of those, Joel. I bet that'll be worth absolutely nothing.
No, yeah.
It seemed like there's a lot more new IPs this year than in previous years. It seems like over the past few years it was a lot of sequels, prequels, and whatnot. But this year it seemed like they kind of like a lot of the showcases. They show off like the big sequel that they're doing, and then afterwards they would just pump out all these new IPs. Everything seemed new, and it seemed that was. What do you guys say? Was it just me? Did it feel like that, or?
No, totally agree. I mean, especially if you look at like Microsoft and Bethesda, who are some of the biggest companies in all of gaming, that just rolled out a ton of new IPs.
That's so nice. So nice to see. So nice to see. It seemed like maybe getting back to that era. The last gen. It seemed like it was all about, really milking, these IPs that have been around for, so long and whatnot, just getting every last dollar out of them. But it seems like it's going back to, way things were a little bit prior, like the, 360, PS3, PS2 days where all sorts of new stuff is going to be coming. So that was good to see as well.
Yeah, and speaking of milking a franchise, that Far Cry 6 actually looks like it's going to be pretty good. Having Carlos Esposito, how do you say his name? Esposito? The dude?
Yes.
The actor?
Correct.
Yeah, that guy. That looks like it's going to be a hell of a story there. Far Cry to me has been a little too open worldy sometimes. It needs to kind of narrow in on the story a little bit better. And this one looks like it's geared towards that.
I've still never really played one. And I know a lot of people say, well, actually, I've played a little bit of Far Cry 2, a little bit of Far Cry 3, but none of them have really grabbed my attention story-wise. 3 did start to, but yeah, fell off it, played something else. But this does, the story for this does look good. It seems like in that kind of setting, I think it might grab me a little bit more. Definitely one to watch out for me, but yeah, it might be one to wait for a sale, but we'll see. Maybe it'll make me dip my toe in the Far Cry universe. But in terms of those new IPs Shane was talking about, I must admit, one did grab my attention, particularly. Although you can't really, it is a new IP, but it's kind of not really a new IP. It's the Elden Ring, which they stopped making Dark Souls a couple of years ago now. Dark Souls 3, kind of maybe 2016, 2015, or something like that, and. From Software were like, yeah, we're not really, the Dark Souls universe is done really, and they've collaborated with George R.R. Martin for Game of Thrones fame on this new IP, Elden Ring, which you watch the trailer, it's a Dark Souls trailer, like exactly, it's the voiceover and everything else. It just in a fantasy setting. I fell in love with it straight away, and you have a horsey as well, and the horsey can jump and go up cliff faces and all sorts. So I'm thoroughly invested in seeing where this goes. But if I had to pick a new IP for me, this would be the one I'm going to be all over.
Another new IP that isn't really a new IP, Back 4 Blood, the Left 4 Dead lineage, the same developers in a new studio making that Back 4 Blood. I love a good co-op game, and it's been way too damn long since I played some co-op with some friends. So I'm hoping that these two guys are also into Back 4 Blood, and I'm hoping it's cross-platform and everything else that it needs to be.
Right.
So we can play it.
I thought it was a Take That song.
I think it's on PlayStation and Xbox, so we'll figure it out. I'll come to you this time. I'll come to you.
I've seen
it on PlayStation.
On the PSN store. Well, not for pre-order and whatnot. So yeah, it's coming.
Big Left 4 Dead fan. You guys may or may not have played that because it's not PlayStation.
360, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I played a little bit of that. It's good.
PC as well. Down. Then there's the new game, which I totally forget the name, that was made, it looked like a co-op adventure title from the Just Cause guys. It was an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, yeah. I did see that one. Crap.
Yep. Not prepared for that one. I forget the name because I'm so excited here to remember everything. But in Halo Infinite, I thought that looked great, going back to the proper Master Chief storyline. The multiplayer looked great. They didn't throw on a new mode; it's the tried and true Halo multiplayer. They're hopefully going to refine to a great point. So I thought that looked really good. Showed well, considering it hasn't shown well. I mean, I'm not one of these people who are like, it looks like shit. I thought the last trailer, I wasn't complaining. It looked great. It looked like Halo looked like fun. I'm like, it's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect looking, but they've put some time into it since they've shown it again now. And it does look like a proper next-gen game, as well as being very fun.
Yeah, it looks all right. It looked definitely a lot better than the last time they showed it, to be fair. Multiplayer trailer did look good. And again, it'll be on Game Pass, so it's a free hit.
And free-to-play multiplayer. You don't even need Game Pass. It's going to be free-to-play on the multiplayer aspect on Xbox. So, yeah. And then after the pressers were over, Xbox came out and announced that all their Xbox Series X and S games will be playable via the cloud on the Xbox One consoles. That's pretty big news there. So you don't even need to upgrade your system. If you just do the cloud gaming, which just requires Game Pass Ultimate, you can play those with your existing Xbox consoles. Talk about backwards compatibility. That's pretty awesome. You don't need the new system to play it. For it to look as good as it's going to look on the X, you don't need an X, Series X. You just play it on your One X. I know that's getting confusing, these naming conventions, in the cloud. And it's supposed to look just as good. That was a mouthful.
Right? Yeah.
It's certainly helpful for people with that tech anyway, and it gives you another excuse not to have to jump straight away into that next gen, as long as you've got a good internet connection. So Yeah, they keep just giving you solutions to problems that you didn't even realize you had.
Yeah, and giving you reasons to subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate is what they're continuing to do,
which is literally free. So,
yeah, and they had a deal like a buck for 3 months or something if you're a new subscriber. So what do you do, Carl? Like alternate your email addresses? How do you pull that off?
Oh, we should get called out.
Do you know what? You don't even need to do it, right? So this is a little hint for anybody with a PC and who uses Game Pass on a PC. So there's two options. You can have PC Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate. So I alternate between the two. So if I cancel, have a few months of PC Game Pass and then let it lapse, within 2 weeks, I'll have a little, if I boot the app up, Game Pass Ultimate will be like, it's 3 months for £1. So that's what I did a couple of weeks ago. Now that I've got the Ultimate on there, I'll use the quests and the Bing searches and all that stuff, and I'll just get it for free on top of that. So I reckon I can easily turn that 3 months into 5 or 6 months if I'm clever enough with the quests and doing all that sort of stuff. And then whenever that lapses, then I'll just go back to the PC only one, and then they'll give me an offer for that. So it for me, it's a no-brainer. I don't spend any money on Game Pass at all, really. If you do the quests and all the rest of it, you can definitely pay for a few months of it that way. If you're very, very I guess religious with it, or logging on doing that stuff every day, definitely you can do that. But it's such a great product. You can't argue with it just for the sheer volume of games on there, And if you put $15 a month, if you can't get it on sale, and if you're literally going to have to pay through the nose for it, it's really for 2 months, Because if you're savvy, you can get it cheap the next month.
Yeah, I talked about last episode or a couple episodes back doing the Microsoft rewards, the daily tasks, the monthly tasks, doing all those things to get to save the $15. Now I've decided I'm going to pay $15. I don't have to do all the daily tasks. Fuck that shit. I'm done logging in every day. Like, this is becoming a pain in the ass. It's nice. It's there. It's there if you want it. If you want to save the money. I find 15 in the couch, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to log in now for a month. I'm all set.
Yeah. I think if you were doing it every month for all year, I think it'd do you ready. But if you want to bank a couple of, like if you've got 6 or 7 months worth, you're like, I'll just add a couple of extra months on, and you could do it at your leisure then, couldn't you? You could do a little bit as and when you see fit. So
this is true. No Switch Pro announced. Everybody thought that was going to happen. We've talked about it. It seemed like an obvious thing to happen. Didn't happen. I'm not sure it needs to. Switch is doing great. As long as I keep pushing out, hey, Breath of the Wild 2. I'll keep the Switch around. I'm good. But no Switch Pro announced. I have no idea what the hell's going on there. If it's going to be another year, if it's just like we don't need it now, or it could be the pandemic and supply, supply issues. Let's not announce it until we've got 3 million of them in the warehouse ready to sell, which wouldn't be a bad idea. A much bigger number than 3 million, too. I just pulled that from the sky. But let's make sure we have everything we need in these machines before we do what PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X did and have none available. They sell out, and then you're just...
Well, also, container supplies as well and freight costs right now are absolutely mental. And you can't do it. I mean, it's just the cost of the consoles just go through the roof, to be able to make up for, the cost of freight of, shipping anything around the world right now is pretty nuts. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a delay of, a number of things, for another year or so. But crazy times.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
But lots to be excited about.
Yes.
It's that E3 is that moment where I feel like a kid again, and I just get all worked up and excited for my video games. My video games.
Yeah, and then we got, Sony will be doing something this summer, though I'm sure they'll have a state of play, to not reveal anything and just show 15 minutes of a game that's coming out the next week. Or
the New Horizon.
Right, exactly. No, they'll have something, and then so I'm pretty sure this Tokyo Game Show will be going down and whatnot. So, still lots to get excited about.
Oh yeah, PlayStation 5, I'm sure, is going to bring lots of great IPs like they always do. Never a shortage of good IPs with Sony.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to share what's in our pint glasses and maybe give our first impressions. We haven't had a lot of time with Ratchet, but give some impressions of Ratchet. Before we do that, though, if you'd like to support us, a couple easy ways you can do so. You can tell a friend. You have friends, right? Go just tell one of them to check us out if they like video games. That'd be appreciated. You can leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen, like this person. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Rosin1 gave us a 5-star review, said lively and entertaining.
Whoa.
Great discussions about gaming with an engaging group of gentlemen. Look forward to the release of each episode. Well, thank you very much.
Nice.
Awesome review.
That review's excellent. It makes us sound like three rich old men sat around, a little clubhouse. Like, oh yes, what. Old gentlemen, yes.
To be fair,
which is exactly what we are like. Obviously, you can't see our top hats and monocles when we're recording the show, but believe me, they are there.
That one came in through the U.S. iTunes store, so thank you very much, Rosin1 or Rosin1, however you say your name there. Really appreciate it. You can also, last and certainly not least, you can join our community on Discord. Remember forums? Yeah, we don't do that. Forums are dead, right? We got Discord now.
Yeah.
You can find a link to our Discord at abandofgamers.com, and we've got 2 new community members over there, Mill and Trillion83. So thank you both for joining our Discord. Awfully kind of you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Join those 2 and us over in that great community. Maybe you'll be inspired to talk more. God, I suck at talking on there, but we've got great people there, and it's all about you all. So it doesn't matter. I don't need to say shit. So what are we drinking? What's going on?
Drinking beers.
Yeah, you're damn right we are. Who's getting us started here?
Oh, this bad boy.
Yeah, I got a new one.
Nice. Doing your research.
From our good friends at Parallel 49.
Ooh.
No super cool can art on this one, because this is just kind of like a one-off one where they just kind of put like a thin little label down the side of the can, and that's it. The summertime is hot. It's hotter than it's very hot out. Anywho.
What's hot for you? Like 20?
Basically.
It doesn't get that hot in Vancouver, does it?
Yeah, it can get pretty warm. I don't know. I don't go out in the sun anyway. I'll melt. So I stay indoors and stay covered up. Don't want to be like, like in your 60s and you just kind of look like an unstuffed leather couch or like an old ball mitt or something. It's like, nah, man, I got those. Yeah. Anywho, onto the beer, because this is the delicious part and not my pale skin. This is a raspberry wheat ale called Bohemian Raspberry.
Nice.
And it's brilliant. Oh, yeah. It's so good. It's light, 4.7%. Beautiful. Take an excellent wheat ale and then just jam pack it full of raspberries. And it is refreshing, delicious, everything you want in a summer beer. And yeah, I'm loving it. And I think I need to buy some more of them because they're really, really good.
Yeah, before they're gone, right? If it's a limited thing, they don't even have the can arts. They maybe are just kind of trying it out to see what they're going to do.
Exactly, a little one and done.
Or a seasonal, maybe.
Ooh.
I love some raspberries.
Yeah.
Kind of like my red face from the sun here. I'm going to be one of them leather guys eventually. What do you got there, Carl? He's shaking his head at me. I don't know.
Drinking today.
Yeah, no, right, of course. I actually went to the pub with a mate for the first time in a long time yesterday. So
feels good, doesn't it?
It was. It was weird. I sort of sat down, like it's all table service. You have to order. They bring it over, and you kind of sat there having a beer, and I'm like, well, I'll just have a couple. Like obviously because your inhibitions go when you're sinking a load of them, and all of a sudden social distancing goes out the window. So
you're hugging the whole bar, like, I love you, man.
Yeah, drinks on me. Yeah. And we were talking about, we've got the Euros on over here at the minute, and I was just thinking, God, if we get to the final, the semi-final of the Euros or something, and you've seen it, Joel, with the Bucks fans celebrating, outside the stadium, just going mad, thousands of people close together, and I'm thinking, oh God, the state of our pubs when England get there. When England get there, that's right. Wow. So I sunk a few yesterday, and when I hung out with you two, and we went up to Whistler, and we were having a nice Guinness and the boozer and that, and I was checking stuff in on Untapped, and I think I was at 500 beers, right? So 500 unique beers back then. So this is why my intro says I'm 1,000, because I'm one beer away from 1,000 unique beers.
Wow.
To checked in and untapped.
Damn, is this the 1,000th here? Are we witnessing history?
Now, this is number 999.
Oh God, you fucked that up real big.
It's not quite, but there's a reason why I'm saying this. So what I want to try and do is get some of you guys out there. Drop us a message. Let me know something either on Twitter. Put it in the Discord. Just drop us an email. Let me know what beer I should be drinking for that 1,000th beer to check in. Something maybe a little bit rare, a little bit unique. It might cost a couple of quid. That's absolutely fine. Let me know a really, really good beer that I need to be drinking for my 1,000th beer, and I'll do my best to get it in for the next show. Nice. This one is a little juicy number. Sabro City Limits, it's called. It's from Dundee, 71 Brewing in Dundee. It's a great beer, lovely little hazy, 7.5% tropical fruits, tangerine. The usual summer fare. Just drinking a ton of these at the minute. But, trying to make my way through all the different breweries, see what's what. So tasty little number. First beer I've had from this brewery as well. So not bad.
I remember, weren't we going to try to get Carl to like 1,000 beers that week? And he was only at like 500 or something.
Yeah, it was mentioned.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it took me a couple of years, isn't it? It's a poor show, really.
Yeah, 500 beers in 3 years. Man, you're slacking there, Carl.
I know. I'm sure my doctor will be really disappointed.
Nice.
What you got, Joel?
Well, longtime listeners will remember the fact that we try and sneak a Daryl Hall and John Oates reference into episodes at points. I don't even know if these two guys remember that. We've kind of had an inside joke that it's so tucked away, Shane, your favorite kind of humor. So tucked away that you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I've got a Daryl Hall and John Oates beer. This is from Eagle Park in Milwaukee, and it's called I Can Go For That.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a nice hazy 8%er. It's got Citra, Simcoe, and Chinook hops. Plus 3 different kinds of oats. And it's just your typical, proper, nice and thick-looking, orange, juicy thickness hazy with a nice light color, and it's delicious. It's really good. So a little bit of a story. They put this out, and I am not a VIP member at Eagle Park. I am at 1840, obviously, but VIP membership at these breweries gets you first access to beer. They'll put some aside before they sell them to the public, and then their VIP members can go and pick those beers up. Their VIP waiting list is like Packers season tickets waiting list. Like you're way the hell down the list. I have not been able to get into being a VIP there. So I saw this on their Instagram a month ago or so. Stopped there after work one day. Put it in my box. Got a bunch of other beers out of the cooler. She's like, "Okay, what's your VIP number?" Oh. I'm like, I'm not a VIP. She grabs it out of the box. Doink. Like, then you can't have that. Like I didn't know it was a VIP beer. I'm so sorry. And she's like, "Oh, and these ones too. Yeah, you can't have these either." Like, oh shit. But a week later, they put them out to the general populace, myself included. I was able to pick these up. And now once a week, I go to the office once a week to do some things. Every time on the way home, I stop and get more of these. Very, very good. So cheers, gentlemen, to another E3, the 8th annual ABOG. I'm not counting, but it's probably that.
Yeah, it's probably.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Until next E3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see you in 12 months.
PS5 Pro. All right, Carl. You had some. I know you had a busy work week. I understand. So you didn't. Your aspirations were to get through Ratchet and talk about it here. E3 happened. Work's busy. You're working on your 999 beers. So I get it. Didn't get through it. I also picked it up, pre-ordered it. Got like a $5 bonus redemption thing too from PlayStation. I didn't expect that I can redeem. I think it used towards something else. I'm not sure. I haven't followed through on that yet. But nice little pre-order bonus there. Played through the first level. Loved it. Then some shit happened and I haven't gotten back to it.
Spoilers.
What do you think of Ratchet and Clank so far, Carl? Rift Apart.
Same as you, mate. Really, I love it. It does feel. I didn't know how much I'd enjoy it playing on the after playing the first one on PS4. It on face value, it doesn't look too much different in terms of just like the interface and all the rest of it. But man, it doesn't half look good on that PS5. I'm probably only about 4 hours in. Maybe I think it's a 15-hour campaign, something along those lines.
Okay,
and also a fairly easy platinum job by all accounts. I'm looking at that trophy listing, so I might want to tidy up and get that deep in. But yeah, I love the weapon selection. Just a little bit different. The particle effects on these weapons and stuff. I know I talked about it with Returnal, but graphically, it's all so pretty. It's so pretty. And right at the beginning, like the very first part of the game, when you're kind of hopping along these balloons on like a parade and stuff, and the crowd, the draw distance, just the cityscape, it's so good looking. It is like playing a Pixar movie, and a lot of people have said that, but it genuinely is. And as you progress a little further, you will see the weather effects change, the world that you're in changes, and like it's just. I was playing through the other day, and I was just like, my Lombax looks different. Like Ratchet looks different. Well, it looks weird. What's going on? And I realised it was the rain. Like you start when you start on this at the beginning on the parade, it's daylight. It's dry. Ratchet looks fluffy and normal, and then at the next level, it's kind of neon and nighttime and rain and wet, and he's a little bit slimmed down, and he's the kind of the hair is different, the fur is different, and it's when you zoom in, there's got a photo mode in it, zoom in, and you can see all his fur is individually wet, and like it's such a change in the character, and it's such a little minute one, that it just looks so well done. Like it is like a little Pixar movie. So plays like a dream so far. I haven't had any issues, no slowdown, no problems. I love that grappling hook mechanic of pulling yourself through one of these little rifts in time, whatever they are. Yeah, I'm just hankering to play more. I just haven't quite had time. I've just started playing with the with Rivet, which is the other character that you play as, and yeah, the story's interesting so far. I don't know how I'll feel at the end of this game, whether I'll want another Ratchet and Clank. We talked about oversaturation of these franchises, and I think when you've played a lot of, God knows how many Ratchet and Clank games this is now, they've never really changed the format, apart from All for One, I think was a little bit different. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What can you say? It's polished, it's slick, it's super pretty. It's just a joy to play.
Yeah, and for me, I just got a PlayStation 5 a couple of weeks ago. Played through Astro's Playroom, which I thought was a great first foray into PlayStation 5, and I think this the same. For a brand new PlayStation 5 owner, to have this game be available pretty quick, it really shows off the console as far as the SD loading. Finest example so far from what I've seen of taking advantage of that technology. And like Carl said, it has that Pixar look. We are to that point now. We've been talking about it for 10 years, right? This game looks like a Pixar movie. Holy shit. Well, it's real. It's happening now. And this is a good example of that as well. It's amazing graphics. And I'm playing in performance mode, Carl, which is 60 frames. Is that what you're doing, or did you go for the high res?
Played in both. I kind of jump between. So when you kind of get into a new environment, I like to have a little play with both and just see what the difference is with reflections and light and stuff like that. But it actually runs pretty well in graphics mode as well. So definitely smoother and slicker in 60 FPS, and it doesn't seem to drop any. Not that I've seen. But even in graphics mode, it's still pretty consistent. And pretty solid. It's enjoyable enough. So, yeah, I like to jump between the two and just have a little look at all especially when you've got all these puddles and reflections and things. It's just nice to look at it and think, oh, there we go. Like that's something new, and I didn't see that in the other mode. So, yeah, runs like a charm.
I think in performance mode as well, it still has ray tracing, so you still get the full effect of the ray tracing and the performance. That's why I went that route. But I'll have to switch back and forth and give it a shot.
Nice.
Yeah. So next episode, right? Got 2 weeks. Think we can tie that one up? You said 15 hours. That seems reasonable.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not that
10
long.
to 15 hours for the story. And Shana was just saying to Joel that the platinum on this one is well achievable. Looking at the trophy list, so that might be one to go for.
Next episode, I think all of us will be able to talk about Ratchet and Clank.
Nice.
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 Because I actually bought a PS5 game.
Oh, wow. There you go.
And it arrived today, so I'm fired up. So I had to sit out a lot of Carl's impressions there. So there wasn't no spoiling that.
Is that what that was? Because Carl just broke the fourth wall, and he's like, "Hey, welcome back, Shane." Yeah, Shane walked away for a minute there. I didn't realize. I thought you were getting a beer.
I just, things. So I'm going to be firing that up pretty soon here. So yeah, looking forward to it, man.
The pressure is on now, man. Now I feel more obligated.
Right?
It's a race to see who finishes first.
Nah, it's not. I'm going to lose that one. But 2 weeks. Get as far as we can through it and give a nice review.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's lots of news to chat about too. Hopefully don't get a lull. We're probably gonna get a lull, right? E3.
Post E3. Yeah, but you get more information and release dates, and then usually 2 weeks after E3, something's got postponed from this year to next year anyway. So I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah, or you at home there can hook us up and give us a review wherever you listen. Could give us something to talk about there. You can join us on Discord. Give some names to give some shout outs too. That would help push us along next episode in case we hit that lull. We're doing our best to be here every 2 weeks. Chip in.
Right?
Appreciate it.
All kinds.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a blast as always. E3, man. How cool. I love it. I love it. New games coming. I got a vacation this week. All three of us are going to play some Borderlands 3. I've downloaded the game. These guys are going to show me the ropes until I run screaming, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's good.
Oh, we can have a jam-packed epi. 2 weeks.
What character should I pick? You guys are like, well, we have to coordinate characters, and then you didn't tell me what I should do. What do you mean?
I don't even know how to pick a character.
You said you have to. Yeah, you do. You said you have to pick different characters, but then you didn't tell me what type of character you picked. So I'm in the dark over here. Who should I pick? It's my first time. Who should I?
I've never picked a second character. I've never started a game with a new character before. So this aspect of it will be new.
Got it.
Had my character and I've stuck with it through thick and thin.
Who's the first character that I should? What class of character, if you will? Is that right? Is that the right way of putting it? The class.
Yeah.
Yeah. What class of character should I start with?
Each one of them's got a name, I suppose. Although they have got a class like so. The Siren looks pretty decent.
I like to shoot shit. Don't make me do magic spells.
Zane.
Yeah.
The character I played through the game with.
The Irishman.
He's great. He's got like a little. You send a little drone that shoots stuff. You can create a copy yourself. He shoots stuff. A lot of shooting involved, and it's fun. He's got these little quips. It's pretty cool.
Sounds good. All right, we're out of here. 2 weeks.
All right. Let's
go.
See you then. Cheers.
Cheers.
Now. I'm all out of beer.